Alright, I'm back again. I did some clear dip while you were gone. So I have 2 dips on this hand, and I'm going to show how I did that on this one. So I have a couple things. I went to Sally's and I bought it's called Quick Dip. They sell it for about $25. This is the crystal clear that comes with the kit. And it's just like a white powder. You can see that. It's just like a really fine white powder. So we'll be using that on the nails. This is the number 2. It's the nail base and top gel, but I don't use this as a top gel. I use something else, and I'll show that later. But this is, you paint this on and then use the dip. And then this is an accelerator from a different company. This is a Walmart brand. But any activator will work with any product. So that's that. And I just got that at Walmart. Okay, and a couple other things I always use is I use a regular old orange stick to go around the edges. And just a little makeup brush that I got in another little kit. But any little brush will do. I've heard a lot of people say that they use a toothbrush. So that would be just fine as well. So what I did was I went ahead and I kind of sealed this, if you can see. I sealed right there along that line, just so I had like a nice even transition there. And I just used this quick glue to seal before we start our dip, and I did that on all the nails. So these are all filed and ready to go. So the way I do it, set that over there. Put our dip right here. And so I'm doing my offhand this time, so it ought to be interesting. But the way I do it is I always aim the nail down. It just helps to not flood the cuticle. A lot of the problem comes with if you get along this cuticle line right here, then it's really, really hard to get out of there, and it's really hard to file. So if you're really careful when you apply this base, then you can avoid all of that. And one of the tricks is to aim that nail down while you're painting. So I don't, if I get my drop of glue here, I don't go right to the top at the beginning. So I'm going to drop that about like 3/4 of the way up. Then I take my brush and I push that right against the cuticle, trying really hard not to touch it. This is your first dip, so it's not really important to, if it has a bare spot or something, you can cover that later. So I start like right here, and then I push that up there. And I try to get really close, but not touch. And you want to get a nice, really even coat. Now, if you apply this, don't ever think that you're going to get a very smooth, polished look off of a dip, because you'll always have to file this. You'll always have to file it, and I'll show you that too. But then I just go ahead and I dip the nail in, and you see, and I just take my finger and I cover it like that. Just wait a couple seconds. Just like that. And sometimes I move my thumb around in there. And then when I pull it out, I tap. And see, we didn't cover the whole nail, but that's okay. So I tap. And that's okay. But see, it's not along the cuticle. Then I always take my orange stick and I go around the edge. Like right around the edge, right there. I hope you could see that. It just makes it nice and neat, If any little powder gets in there, then you kind of swipe it out. Just swiping it out. Doesn't really matter right now. We're going to do another dip on that. So I'll go ahead and do the second one here. We'll find our, not knock our camera down. Alright, so again, start about 3/4 of the way up. I'm going to push that glue up to the top. Like I said, just being really aware of where that cuticle starts. You know, you just got to be really careful. And I'm just swiping that glue down. Okay. And that looks good, so we're going to go ahead and dip it. And wiggle around in there just a little bit, just so it sets. Alright. Tap it off. Tap all that excess off. Use your orange stick. Use your orange stick. See how that just makes a nice little neat line right there. So you don't have any excess to deal with later. Okay. Do it again. Go on to the third. Okay. 3/4 of the way up. So we're just going to push that right up there. I hope that you can see that. Pushing it. Just making a nice even coat. Doesn't have to be a thick coat. Remember, thinner coats are better than thicker coats. So if you do, sometimes I'll do 3 or 4 dips, and today, since I'm going to be doing some glitter, I'll probably do 3 or 4 dips. And it's always a thinner coat is better than a thicker coat. So you can put on like 3 or 4 thin coats rather than one big thick coat. It always is better. So we're dipping in there, get off the excess. And again, it didn't cover very well, but it's okay. We'll get him in the next one. So we're going to round right there. See a little piece so we can get that out there. There we go, see? We'll go on to the next one. We're just repeating this process over and over. I'm just showing you how I would do. This is my offhand, so it's a little bit difficult. It's just a time-consuming process. But what I do is I take, and I put on music. And then it's kind of a nice calming thing for me. I get away from everything, you know, daily life and strife, all that stuff. I do my nails. Sometimes it takes me 4 or 5 hours. If I'm not doing a full set, you know, you don't have to change your tips every time. You can, I think the last tips that I had them on for, probably a good 2 months. But you can change them as often as you want. I felt like mine was getting a little hard to file, so I decided to change to a clear tip this time. In all honesty, the white tips are a lot easier to work with. So if you don't want to go through, you know, if you're not going to inlay glitter or anything like that, you can just get those old white tips. They're a lot easier to work with. But I never back down from a challenge. So sometimes, you know, you gotta live on the wild side. And see, there's the edge right there. And I don't want that in there, so I'm gonna scrape that out. See how nice that was? Takes that right out of there. So then after you do your first dip like this, you take your little handy brush, and you're going to start with the one that you did the first. You're just going to swipe that off. See? And you're left with somewhat of a clear dip there. And sometimes I blow on it if I don't think I'm getting the dust out very well. It's like, be careful blowing in this though, because it'll go everywhere. And I just give it a good little scrub. Like I said, I've heard people say they use a toothbrush, and that would be just fine. But this little brush has worked well for me while I'm learning. And like I said in a prior video, that line is going to disappear. See, it's already, you really can't see it now. When I get that second dip on there, it'll look even better. You're just dusting. And sometimes, you know, just make sure it's clear. Make sure you don't have anything in there. Because that's where you run into problems, is when you have something in there. Yeah. Yeah. So then we just do that again. And be very aware of where your line is. And get a nice coat on there. Sometimes you have to double dip. And that's okay. Sometimes you just have to put a little more on there. Especially when you're making them really long like this, you know. You want to get a good even coverage. Make sure you get that little part that I was talking about earlier. You don't want it to lift. Sometimes you have to help it out here. So I just take my finger and push that acrylic over on the nail. Let's see. That's a much better coverage than it was the last time. And then you would just continue to do that for all your nails. And then in the next video, I am going to add some Walmart glitter. This is really beautiful. I've done this before. So what I would do is I would take this glue and I would just paint it on, and then we're going to take a brush and we're going to tap that glitter right in there, and then we're going to paint acrylic over it. And then when we file it out, it's going to look like it's on the inside. So I'll see you all in the next video.